Project-based learning. Professor Harry from India is extremely proud of his students, who are contributing to the betterment of humanity through technological innovations in communication, transportation, healthcare, and many more. However, he knows that we are a country with almost 20% of the world's population, and just a few of our students are doing wonders. Imagine what if every student becomes capable of transforming other people's lives. With this thought in mind, he visited a global convention on project-based learning and returned with the solution, which was project-based learning. He was eager and excited to share his experience and learnings about project-based learning with his teaching community. Before we start, let's see the effectiveness of different learning styles. When we read, we remember 10% of the content. When we listen, we remember 20%. Visual learning enables us to retain 50% of the content. Teaching others helps us absorb 70% of the topic. However, the data shows we can learn the most by doing things ourselves. This is what project-based learning is. The project-based learning methodology is a way to structure a curriculum around projects that promote inquiry-based activities to solve real-world problems. Students learn multidisciplinary content while sharing ideas and evaluating their ideas. This requires a shift from teacher-centered classroom to a student-centered classroom, where the teacher becomes a guide on the side, rather than the sage on the stage. Why project-based learning? Not because it is the latest trend, or everybody is doing it. It is because that's what life is. When a student leaves school and enter life, they will be no longer judged by standardized tests. For the rest of their life, they will be judged on the quality of person they are, and the quality of work they do. And this is what should matter in schools as well, because we care for our students. Benefits of project-based learning. Enhanced engagement. Students are more engaged in identifying and solving real-world problems that interest them. Development of critical skills. Students develop critical thinking, creativity, problem-solving, collaboration, time management, and communication skills. Interdisciplinary learning. Projects often integrate multiple subject areas, providing a more holistic education. Scoping. Students learn to define and document the objectives, deliverables, tasks, deadlines, and boundaries of a project. Student autonomy. Students take ownership of their learning, fostering independence and self-direction. Professional networking. Students may have opportunities to connect with industry professionals and stakeholders. Project design. The project should be a balance between the student's skills and the professor's expectations. If students are expected to do a lot with a few skills, it will lead to frustration. And if the students with many skills are expected to do little, it will lead them to boredom. One example of project-based learning is: at Stanford College, a professor writes 5 real-world problems on the board and asks students to pick the project of their choice. They form groups to solve these problems. The teacher proposes to them that,
if you can solve this problem to the industry standard, and if the industry pays you the consultancy charges, you don't have to appear for an exam, because you would learn what's in the book by doing it.
Another example is from India, where a faculty gave a project to create an application for nanomaterial in real life. He forms a group of students from material science, mathematics, biology, electronics, and design. They collaborated, researched, and created a brain skull that can detect brain strokes. They patented the technology, formed a company, and managed to secure an investment of €25,000 for 10% in the company. They took their final exam, and before graduating, they already had the company, with a valuation of €250,000. Project-based learning empowers students to apply their knowledge to solve real-world problems, making a tangible impact in the lives of the masses. Thank you for watching.